everyone, and welcome back to the channel. You're in my kitchen today because I have some things that I want to use up. So I'm going to make focaccia for the first time on this channel, but I'm actually making pantry focaccia. I want to use up some olives from New Year's Eve, some garlic, things of that nature. So I'm going to bring you along. If you don't know this, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm a huge fan of Laura Vitale. She lives right over in Jersey. I've been following her since she started. She has a YouTube channel, and she's all over Instagram. So I decided that I'm going to make her version of the pantry focaccia, only because of the fact that I don't want a big cookie sheet, and she uses like 2 round like pie plates, pie dishes. I'll show you when the time comes. So we're going to do Laura Vitale's pantry focaccia. So I started to get everything out over here. Let me show you. I have all the ingredients. I have the flour, the salt, sugar, olive oil, the water, and we're going to need 2 1/4, I think it is, of yeast. So let me get things set up. I'm going to bring you back, and we're going to get rocking and rolling and making this focaccia bread. So hang tight. Okay, so I just checked out her recipe. There's no eggs. I do have an Italian recipe that I use, but I kind of want to make hers, so there's no egg involved. So that's not out here. We're going to use the KitchenAid standing mixer with a Joe hook. So let me grab the Joe hook. Probably the only thing I didn't have ready. Tried to have the ingredients out in advance. You know how it goes. Okay, so we're going to use KitchenAid. So I'm going to turn these around, and we're going to get baking some pantry focaccia. Okay, I'm going to try to film this way. Hopefully you can see this well enough so you can see inside the bowl. Okay, first things first. We're going to add the flour and sugar and salt into the bowl of a standing mixer and set it aside. So I have the flour already measured out, which makes life easier sometimes. Okay, so flour, the sugar, and the salt. There's the sugar and the salt. And now I have the water, but it's kind of getting a little cold, so I want to remake sure that it's hot, because if you've seen my videos, I spoke about, let me turn you around this way. I think you might be able to see. Hold on. Okay. I've spoken about your yeast with the water. If it's too hot, it'll kill it. If it's too cold, it won't do anything. So we need 1 3/4 cups, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it was. So I am going to get ready to add the Active Dry Yeast, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons. 2 1/4 teaspoons. So there's my yeast. Let me find the right spoon. And 1/4. Sorry, my friends. Guess I should have put that light on. Okay. So we're going to kind of let that sit there for a minute, do its thing. I'm just going to do 1 teaspoon of sugar inside of that as well. Right in. You don't have to stir it, but if you want to, just go ahead, Stir the yeast flour mixture all up. And then you're just going to put this off to the side. And we are going to wait for this to activate. As soon as it does, I will bring you right back. Okay, so here's the yeast mixture. It's all good to go. We're just going to put it all in there. And we are going to be, let me see. All right, I have the dough hook on. Okay, I have to add the oil in there. Right there. Don't forget, if you're baking, it's cold in your house. If it's too warm, it will affect the dough. That's just a given. We're going to start mixing that. Did I unplug it? Oh boy. I did. Sorry, my friends. Let me plug it in. Okay. And let's start mixing. KitchenAid with a dough hook. I'm not turning it up right this minute because then we're going to turn it up to medium for 3 to 5 minutes once it comes together. So vacuum temperature inside your house will determine the way your baking comes out. If it's too cold, if it's too hot, it'll get sticky. So usually if something's like a little dry, you can always add like a little bit more oil or a little bit more water. Turn it up, bringing it together. Yeah, it's shaking. I want to take a look at it. Oh, it's very tacky. Okay, so that's why you check it. Because the temperature in your house always changes the way things bake. So let me grab my all-purpose flour. I'm not going to go crazy with the flour. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. So I'm going to go in with like a tablespoon of flour and we'll see how that does. I'm going to go in with some more. Just until it comes together. Normal consistency. Now let me feel it. Still a little tacky, I think. Yeah, just a wee little bit. So let me do a tiny bit more. Show you what it looks like. See how it's all coming away from the bowl? Now we're just going to let it knead in the KitchenAid 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, that's good enough for me. It's okay if it's a little sticky. Get it off the dough hook. So let me move you guys over to here for 1 second. Oops. See? A little sticky. That's okay. Let me adjust you. Turn you around so that you can see what's going on. I have dough on my fingers. Okay, let me back you up. There's the dough. I'm not even going to dirty another bowl. I'm just going to use that. I'm going to oil it. I'm going to put a little flour on my hands. Try not to dirty my new laptop. Yeah, just a little tacky. And that is fine. I'm just going to knead it for a second. See how it's all coming together. And my island is moving. The wheel's probably not locked. It takes it all off your fingers. I'm just trying not to get it on the laptop. You just pull it together so it comes to a ball, like so. And there is our focaccia dough ready to go. So like I said, I'm going to use the same KitchenAid bowl, and I'm just going to put some oil in it. And we're going to have to let this rise till it doubles in size. You can just take your hand and spread it all around the bowl like so. I hooked my camera up wrong this time, so it's like awkward. And then we're just gonna grab this, put it, ooh, my friends. I'm gonna get olive oil on my phone. Let's see. There it is. Put it in the oil. Flip it over. Make sure it's all well coated. We're going to cover this, and we're going to put this in a warm spot. For me, that would be the microwave, not turned on. You can also use your oven with the light on. Let me wash my hands. If you have a proofer, you're in business. So I'm going to cover this. I'm going to let this focaccia dough rest, and I'll bring you back as soon as it doubles in size. I wanted to bring you back real fast just to discuss this cling wrap. If you're like me and you don't like the cling wrap when you're baking, I purchased these. These are called, they're by Covermate. They're stretch to fit food covers. Can you see that right there? They give you a couple different sizes. Let's see if the large one's in here. Like I said, they give you like small, medium. Looks like a shower cap. And you just take it and put it right over the bowl, like so. So much more easier than using cling wrap that never clings. So again, this is by Covermate. I think you get 2 large, let's see, 8 covers. 1 small, 4 medium, and 3 large. I can't guarantee you all mine are in here. This happens to be in a box that was moved over here around Christmas, so I'll probably find a large and a medium somewhere in another box when I get officially moved in, but I think these work great instead of covering with saran wrap. So on that note, I just wanted to share that. And now that it's covered, I'm going to put it in the microwave, obviously not on, because it'll keep it a little bit warmer in there for this to double in size. So in the microwave it's going. Again, not on. Just sit it in there, close her up, and I'll bring it back once it's doubled in size. Okay, so the bread is almost there, and I just wanted to discuss this very quickly. This is the pans that I'm going to use. Well, they're like baking dishes for like pies. This is, let's see if it has a size. I can't see it. So I'm using 2 of these for this dough. You'll get 2 out of it. And over here, this is Pantry Focaccia. So I had some leftover sun-dried tomatoes, and I tried to slice it as thin as possible. Same with the garlic. These are calamari olives. I have some fresh rosemary. I also have some dried, and these are artichoke hearts. So I wanted to use them up. Now the suggestion is to use a much better salt. So I'm going to use this Tuscan sea salt because it usually says to use, you know, like a sea salt type of deal. So I'm going to use a little bit of this right on the top of it. But I will show you that when I bring you back. The other thing is you're going to want to oil each pie plate that you're using. It has to have oil down in the bottom. Okay? So that's what I was doing. And that was using up some things that were left over from New Year's Eve. You can use whatever you want. This is just what I'm using. Okay, everyone. This is good enough for me. It's doubled in size. And then basically what you're going to do is you can give it a punch down. You just want to pull it out. I did forget, of course, a tiny bit of flour. Just for my work surface, like so. Okay, we're going to take this out, like so. Basically what we're going to do is just cut it right in half. Because you should get 2 focaccias out of this. You can use the whole thing if you have an extra large cookie sheet. You can pretty much put it in whatever you want. So, let's deal with the one right now. Let me get the dish that I've already stated. I put oil in it and just rubbed it around the whole entire pan. So, roll up your sleeves, because here you go. You're basically just gonna put it in here, make it fit. You stretch it, do all that fun stuff with it, just like so. It's super easy to do. The one that I make, my own recipe, is really easy too. I just chose Laura Vitale's because it said Pantry on it, and I wanted to use up some things. So, see how I'm using my fingertips? That gives you the divots. And you just want to make sure that it fits. And that's pretty much it. Take your fingertips, divot it all around. Like so. Oops, hopefully you were saying that. Well, you'll see the next one better. So that's one. And then the only thing that's time consuming about it is the factor that it has to rise twice. And rise till it doubles in size, and then, you know, till it perfs in the pan. So I'm just going to stretch this one a little bit, put it right in like so. Move it over, just put it in your pan, just stretch it out. Like I said, I put my camera on my tripod the wrong way today, of course. Go figure. Just use your fingertips for the divots. And we are now going to let this rise, and I will bring you back, greasy fingers and all. Okay, so there they are. I have them on top of the stove this time. I'm just going to cover them up. And I just thought I would come back just to explain. You can one finger it, but when you do 3 fingers, that gives you the divots that you're supposed to have in focaccia. Just like so. But once this rises, you're not going to want to put your fingers in it because then you'll deflate it. So we're going to let that rise because the oven's on, preheating. And I'll bring you back as soon as they rise. I just wanted to tell you that little tidbit. Okay, so they rose. I could let them go a little bit longer, but that's good enough for me. So 1/2, you can put whatever you want. That's the point of a pantry focaccia, is you use whatever's in your pantry or left over in your fridge. The other one, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Okay, so I think on one of them, this is what I'm going to use. Yes, my roommate's now staring at me. The object is you want to stick things in it without deflating it. So let's go with the garlic first. I'm getting impatient waiting, folks. I sliced the garlic fairly thin. So I'm just going to stick garlic in there. Heat's making my earring get hot. So, like I said, this is not my recipe. This is Laura Vitale's. Mine comes out, I think, a little bit more with the holes in it. But it's all good in the hood. Okay, so the object is to not, like I said, deflate it. That looks like a pretty good amount of garlic to me. I really like garlic, so. Okay, and then what I think I'm going to do is, I have some leftover Kalamata olives. I'm just going to stick some around. They were already pitted. So you can make this just to eat. You can make chili and have it. My overall opinion right now is I kind of like mine just a little bit better. I just wanted to use this recipe because of this size pie plate. I thought maybe that would come out pretty good. We'll have to see how it tastes though. So, Kalamata olives I'm using. This is things I just had left over from New Year's Eve. Point is, you just don't want to deflate it. And then I was going to do artichokes, but I think I'm going to do, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I will do a couple. I'm just afraid because my pieces are bigger. I just might stick a couple little pieces in here. You hear a bunch of rackets, just the usual suspect. So this is almost going to be like an everything focaccia. Just trying to see where to stick it. Goodness gracious. Just a few pieces. of the artichoke hearts. I'll just make this one like in everything. Just tuck them in. Just be careful. Okay. And then I'm going to use some sun-dried tomatoes. And put them around. I tried to do the strips small, but they don't always go that way sometimes, you know, when you're cutting them, so. So I figured I would just have this one taste a little bit of everything. Let's see. And that looks pretty good to me, because now my roommate's going to be on the phone talking. Okay, so that's that one. And what I'm going to do is, you can use fresh rosemary if you have it around from your garden, like I do. Just put some sprigs on there. Like so. And then these are going to bake 400 for 25 to 30 minutes. And then as far as I was speaking about earlier, you want to use a more sea salt type of deal. I'm going to use this Tuscan. Give this a whirl. And just give it a little sprinkle. Across the top, all over it, and then you're going to scant 2 tablespoons of olive oil all around it. Go with a tiny bit more. Okay. Then as far as the next one, let me bring in so you can see this better. There it is. Now as far as that one's concerned, I think I'm just going to do, debating. I think I'm going to do the salt first. Sprinkle it around. It's a little bit hard to do videos this week because my roommate's been out of work. He had a cold, not to see. So salt I put on that one, and because I love garlic, I think I'm just going to do half of this one. I'm going to just tuck the rest of this garlic in because I cut a lot, as you can very well see. Ay, 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 ay. Let me pause this a second. Okay. Yes, I'm just going to do garlic on this half with some sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm going to leave the other half plain. Just tuck them in. Plain meaning I'm going to use, I think, some dry rosemary for that one. All over this one. Even though I prefer fresh, I just want to try it. And then I'm going to put some fresh as well. So big pieces, just rip them, break them down. Like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with the olive oil. So it'll be half plain and half garlic. And I will just put the rest of the stuff in a baggie and save it for the next one. Because once you make these, they're so super easy. You can put whatever you have going on in your pantry all over it. And I already put the salt on there. that's it. This is what they look like. This is, I'm going to call this my everything focaccia. We have artichokes, rosemary, sun-dried tomatoes, calamari olives, and garlic. This one with the Tuscan sea salt. This one over here, let me get this straight. Okay, this one over here is just the olive oil, dried and fresh rosemary, garlic on half. And yeah, I'm going to pop them in the oven right now at 400 for 25 to 30 minutes. I'll bring you back. Okay, I just took them out of the oven. This is with the garlic sun-dried tomato one. That's the other one. I'm going to slide one out, which it's going to be awfully hot, but so sorry about this editing today. Like I said, I put my camera on the wrong way. Woo! You should be able to lift focaccia right out. Let me grab a fork and a knife. So of course my video is going to run over per usual, but when you're baking homemade things, it happens. Oh, look at that. It looks so good. Bingo bango. Put this in the sink. And let me cut into a slice of this so we can end this video. Oh my goodness. If you have never tried it, I'm just cutting a little piece for myself. You need to make it. Oh, that is so hot. I'm going to get burnt. Look at it. Really, really good. Amazing. So like I said, this is not my recipe. This is Laura Vitale's. But it's pretty much all the same thing. My divots are usually a little bit better. But this is Pantry focaccia, because then you can use up whatever you have. I had leftover things from New Year's Eve. Really good. Thank you everyone. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.